Hi guys, welcome back to the channel for another video. This is not the planned video for today. Very off the cuff, which is always such a good idea. How ironic if I get cancelled for talking about people getting cancelled. Everybody knock on wood. That stone could probably use the massive wooden table behind me. So I logged onto YouTube this morning and saw there was a video from Jenna Marbles which looked much more serious than her usual content. And it was a video in which she was detailing and expressing her regret over content that she's put out in the past, which has been racist and misogynistic. And she very tearfully apologized and showed the content she was referencing. And at the end of the video, she stated that she would be stepping away from her channel either permanently or potentially, indefinitely. And it really crystallized for me a lot of my feelings about cancel culture and my chief concern about cancel culture. There's a few things I want to acknowledge before I get into that though. First and foremost, I am a fan of Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles has even been part of my mental health skill set over the last 9 months since my dad passed away. She was one of a couple of YouTubers who I could bring myself to watch because I knew it would be a mental escape for me. So yes, I'm a fan of Jenna Marbles, to be clear, from a bias perspective. I also want to be clear that I am not part of one of the groups, the marginalized groups, that some of her, offensive content was clearly offensive towards or for. There was one video that was quite centered around slut shaming, which I was really, really disappointed in at the time and have always wondered whether or not she would acknowledge it. And so I understand from that perspective. I personally was offended by that video when it originally came out. I also knew that she had just that week gone through a breakup. So context kind of helped me to have a bit more compassion and empathy. But from the racist video comments standpoint, I have absolutely no right to tell anybody how to feel about that because I do not belong to that community. And I'm not here to tell anyone as a white lady who has been deeply privileged how they're meant to feel about that content. It's not so much about the content itself, it's more so about how we give people zero recourse to be able to evolve and to find any kind of forgiveness or resolution, even when they have demonstrated for years that they have moved past a period where they behaved poorly. I should also touch on the fact that yes, I make response videos. I criticize other creators publicly. If you look at my content, you will see none of it is for the purpose of canceling anyone. It is to have a productive, constructive conversation, not just for our community, but for the individual potentially. I've had very productive, constructive outcomes from constructively criticizing individuals on YouTube, or it might be a production, it might be a TV show, a documentary. I've had a lot of conversations that have shown that there is a respectful, productive way to address content that you take issue with. Yes, I think that there is a way to do this. I don't think that cancel culture is it. Holding people accountable for questionable, offensive, damaging, racist, sexist, transphobic, whatever content is very, very, very important. I think there's two things when we're actually holding someone accountable versus canceling them that need to happen. One, an acknowledgement/apology for whatever it is that they regret or now acknowledge is damaging, harmful, etc. Two, and most importantly, a clear and concerted effort to change that behavior, to change those perspectives, to become an example of what can happen if you are open to criticism, if you are open to questioning your beliefs, the harm you might be causing, your impact on other people. And where Jenna has gone wrong, she hasn't done the first step. Even though she has privately acknowledged that she is not aligned with those belief systems, that she no longer thinks that behavior is acceptable, she kind of hasn't brought everybody along with her by directly acknowledging that. When you look at her content, you can kind of understand why. Maybe the podcast would have been a better forum to finally just say, look, there's this stuff that I need to address because it is problematic, and she's kind of known for being unproblematic. And I can just imagine that it's been like sitting in the back of her brain like one of these days. So directly acknowledging and apologizing, always a good plan. What Jenna has done, and what I think is a far more important step in correcting offensive behavior or poor choices in the past, is to change, is to educate yourself, is to do the work and to show the product of that work, to become more compassionate, empathetic, inclusive, to change your whole value system, to look at yourself and really do the work to become a better version of yourself, to evolve. I don't think that anyone who has been a viewer of Jenna can say that that hasn't happened, that we can't see that across each of her platforms and in all of her content. What I see in cancel culture is a lack of recourse for anybody to find redemption or forgiveness. That's what seems to be missing, is that the way that you are tried and prosecuted online doesn't come with this specific punishment and you do your time and then, you get to be rehabilitated and learn and do better, and that kind of is forgiven, I suppose. We see it constantly. People who have demonstrated that they are apologetic and that they have changed have to relitigate this same issue over and over again when it gets dug up by a headline or a journalist, etc. And that is concerning to me, not necessarily for the individual, but what example are we setting for people who aren't public figures, who we need to question their beliefs. We need them to question long-held, bigoted, racist, transphobic, homophobic beliefs. And what we're demonstrating publicly is, even when you question it and you apologize and you change, there is no road to redemption. You will constantly be reminded of, your faults, your flaws, your mistakes, your past belief system, the fact that you may have been a bigot in the past or you may have been ignorant, etc. There is no moving on for you. And this is all shades of grey, right? I'm talking about the Jenna situation where she's said deeply offensive, very stupid stuff. I'm not talking about people who have engaged in criminal acts or, things that are on that more extreme end of the spectrum. I'm talking about situations like Jenna's, YouTubers who find themselves in moments where their character looks pretty poor, where they should have known better, they should have done better, and now they've demonstrated that they know that, they recognize that, and they are doing precisely what we want people to do. But if we do this to people publicly, why would anyone watching that, a private person, why are they incentivized to go through any kind of evolution, to go through any kind of questioning of their beliefs or behaviors? If there is truly no forgiveness or redemption, if we are just going to, in a mob mentality, go after people and not give them any avenue to be, I'm not saying celebrate these people, I'm not saying throw them a parade for doing the right thing, but to constantly litigate, to constantly shame and pile on every time it comes up in a headline, every time it kind of gets dug up again. It just seems to me that there is a part of humanity missing from this process, the compassionate, empathetic, forgiving part of that process. And I do it here on this channel. Like I said, yes, I call people out. I call people in. I want to have a conversation with them. I want to have a conversation with you guys. I've taken videos down in the past where I've had a dialogue with creators who have been like, thank you, I'm going to do better. I will read those books that you recommended. I will question what I said. I do apologize for what I did or what I said. And it's like, great, cool. They've made a commitment to change. The video goes down. And then you see the change. You have ongoing dialogue with them. You are then able to, by extension, hopefully they will then influence their own audience to be more curious, to question, to be more self-critical, to be more accountable to themselves. There is a flow-on effect with how we treat people. It's not so much about me running in and, talking about Jenna specifically. It's that the effect of cancel culture is the demonstration that we are then leaving for ourselves as a society. How do we have difficult conversations with people and say, I want you to question your political beliefs, or I want you to question how you treat people, if what we've demonstrated for them is, and I will continue to punish you, even if you do the work and you go to the effort and you essentially atone and become better and evolve, you will continue to be punished. And it won't be enough until we run you out of your job, your platform, your town, your family, until you are alienated, even when you've followed every single step we want you to follow. I also don't know how fair it is to criticize people with the intensity that we do, given these are historical mistakes. Not to say they shouldn't be called on it, that they shouldn't apologize, that they shouldn't acknowledge it and educate themselves and make a commitment to do better. Let me give you an example. I used to love shows like Little Britain. Transphobic, racist, homophobic, the list goes on. When I was 16, 17, when it first came out, I loved it. There was no discourse out there that made me question whether or not I should love it. I was surrounded by a community of other people who loved it. It was one of the most popular shows worldwide at the time. And I know that I'm opening myself up for so much criticism, which just speaks to my point, which is that I'm now 32. It's been 16 years. And the world has changed. Society has changed. My level of knowledge and awareness has changed, as has yours. I don't have to tell you that I like shows like Little Britain, but I'm choosing to demonstrate that I now know why they shouldn't have that on Netflix. I now know. I tried to watch it like 2 years ago, just went, I haven't watched that for ages, and watched it, and from start to finish, I think I only got like 5 minutes in. I was so uncomfortable. Oh, it was fat phobic too. Fat suits, excellent. You watch something like Friends with Monica running around in her fat suit and all of the awful jibes they make about her lack of worth compared to, now that she's in a skinnier body. Problematic. You probably all loved Friends. Now, loving a show is different to making content that's offensive. Like I said, this is off the cuff. It all kind of lives in my brain, making sense, and I hope I'm kind of getting a point across. Maybe I'll make another video. Maybe I'll just regret making this one. But I just don't think it's as black and white. Probably could use a better phrase right there. I think there's more gray area than we want to acknowledge. And it just doesn't sit right with me that we want to cancel someone who's released something almost a decade ago, which they have clearly taken great strides to move away from, to have a positive influence on their community, to do better, to be better, to question themselves, to evolve, to do what we're all allowed to do as humans, which is improve, but not everyone chooses to do that. I just think it's unfortunate. I'm still working on how I feel about it and how I express it. But I just wanted to come and say that today, because I think we're going to look back at this period where we were so quick to cancel people for the fun of it, for the entertainment, for the, satisfaction of not being that person. Let's have direct conversations. Let's make a commitment to hold each other accountable and do better. My friends and I do it. Josie and I have made a commitment to each other to be like, we need to be more inclusive. We need to be more, on the front foot in terms of promoting accounts that are more marginalized, etc. And we've made a commitment to be like, and I'm going to hold you to it. There is a benefit to this. I think that piling on, shaming people, never giving them any kind of timeline or opportunity to find forgiveness or resolution, I think it sends a message to anyone watching on, what's the point? Yes, of course you should want to do it for your own reasons, but why put your hand up and put your head up just to have it blown off over and over and over again in your attempt to evolve and be a demonstration of the work is worth it, and you do find forgiveness and you do find this outcome where you can be, forgiven. I don't know. I'll regret putting this up. I have no doubt. Love to hear your comments. I'm so not worried about the comment section. Want to reiterate, it is not up to me to decide how marginalized groups feel about content that is offensive to them. This is an observation, not about whether or not you deserve to be offended, whether or not you deserve to feel the way you do and express it the way you want to. It is about the latter parts of this process of then, what do we do with these people? What do we do with good people who have done bad things or been bad people in the past? Not that I'm saying that that's Jenna. I'm talking more generally about, you know, what we stumble across in cancel culture. I don't think Jenna is a bad person at all. I think she made some really stupid mistakes, and I think she knows that. What do we do then? Tell me. That's really what I'm here to ask. What is the end goal, result, outcome of cancelling people? What are we looking for? And is what we've currently got working for us? I don't think it is. Anyway, there's a new podcast episode up after a 9-month break. She loves an extended break. So I will put links to the episode below. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. I also did like a Zoom recording, so you can watch it here on YouTube. That I'll put that up here somewhere, and it's amazing. It's with Rafaela Mancuso, who is an activist and content creator who made a supposedly controversial post talking about the overwhelming number of thin white women in the body positivity space, and it went viral. She tagged the people she was talking about, which I think is great. Clearly in this video I've stated, if you're going to say something publicly, sign your name to it. Don't talk around it. Coward's way out. And it was a great chat. Please go and watch it. If you think you know what body positivity is, there might be a chance that you've been taught the wrong definition. So yeah, go and check that out. Let me know your thoughts. Come and find me on Instagram and Twitter under What Mia Did Next. And so nice knowing you after I get cancelled from this video. Oh God, don't joke about that, Mia. That's probably now going to happen. Okay guys, much love. Take care. Bye.